Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. The channel is run by two sisters. So today I'm going to be your host, Star, and we're coming up to the end of the year. And actually, I feel like this year kind of went by like averagely, like kind of mediocre. Like I feel like the last 2 years has gone by really fast due to like the pandemic and stuff. And obviously, we're still facing everything that we're still facing, like health crisis wise. But I don't know. This year kind of went by not slow, but wasn't like fast as the last 2 years were. At least for me. But yeah, I don't know. We're coming up the end of the year, so it is that time where I rapidly draw my OCs a bunch, like I did last year, and I decided that I was going to do a magazine cover or fake magazine cover for my OC Jonas. So if you've been around the channel, I did 2 fake magazine covers for 2 of my OCs in the summer, and yeah, I haven't done one for Jonas, and in like the story that contains a lot of these OCs, he's like the second main character. So I decided that, he needs to have his fake magazine cover. So you saw in the beginning, I was really struggling with the pose and the anatomy. And so I tried to use a 3D model, but at least for this particular like squatting pose, it didn't like turn out too right. And so I tried to like Frankenstein the 3D model pose using the selection tool to sort of try to match it to the references that I was looking at. But that also didn't like do anything. It didn't really help. And so, yeah, I decided that I'm just going to like wing it myself, and doing more of like a kind of open spread pose is a lot more easier than trying to figure out like just the angle of everything, at least shape wise. And so yeah, I decided to do the pose that I did. I don't know how well it turned out because sketch wise it doesn't look too bad, though the character's like left knee, I feel like it should be stretched out just a little bit more. But yeah, sketch wise doesn't look that bad, but once I got to coloring, I kind of noticed a lot of the mistakes. But I don't know, I feel like sort of it was like one, too late for me to like do anything about it because I was like in the overpainting stage where I like color on top of my sketch, and then 2, I just didn't care anymore because this actually took a long time. It took me like over an hour to close to 2 hours just to do the pose itself, just because I've never done it before, and so I was already like struggling, and I took way too long to do like a simple piece, something that's not like detailed. And so I was like, what, who cares, this is just for me, it's for fun, like I don't mind. So I just kept it the way it is. Anyways, like I said, I'm doing a fake magazine cover in my like world where I have these like normal OCs. One of the characters who I'm still kind of like figuring it out, she's a journalist, so she has a magazine or maybe like a newspaper for their school. They all go to college, and so for like her thing, it's called Nyx, which I'll figure out the whole backstory to that, or I'll explain it in another video. But yeah, so a lot of these characters are gonna be like doing these magazine covers under her like fake magazine that she's creating for her school. And Jonas is the next, I guess, edition, because the first edition was Elijah, and he's an influencer in this world, so it makes sense why like she chose to do him first. And the second edition is for, I guess, the second most popular person in the school, which is this up and coming fashion social media influencer designer character. And then the third one is gonna be Jonas. He's not like famous or anything, but he just happens to be the third person that has this magazine cover done for him. Okay, great, let's talk about process. My process was pretty simple in terms of like post figuring out like the anatomy and everything, which I know I got wrong. But yeah, it was simple. I did my sketch, cleaned it up just a little bit, and then I put my colors down. I'm using all of like my own brushes that I created myself that you can find on Gumroad if you're interested. I try to do like the multiply blend mode to use for like shading, because I know everyone does that, but it just didn't really work out too well for me. Like I kept it, but like I didn't really like how it looked, and so I'm gonna like play around with how people typically use multiply as a blend mode, just to see like just how it's done, and see if it's a lot more quicker. And I use like the selection tool to like block out those colors initially, and then I use the multiply blend mode, but it didn't really work out too much for me. And then after that, I did my simple rendering, and then because there was some like crossing with the sketch and things like that, I just went over the sketch and kind of like fixed those mistakes. And then I like that some areas are just like completely like blocked out colors, while some other areas still hold the like sketchiness that you see underneath, because they didn't really need to be like colored over, if anything. And I also like that like the skin is kind of like heavily like messed around with, that like it's like the knee part, like you don't really see too much of the sketch, but then you have something like the shoes or something like the shirt that's kind of still completely like flat. I like that like mix of like that type of like style. And so yeah, I've done that like in the past too. Like if nothing doesn't need to be overpainted with, I usually kind of leave it flat and simple, and I just like that mix in terms of style. The hair was a bit tricky. I still don't really know how to highlight or shade hair, but honestly, I'm getting there. We're gonna figure it out next year, hopefully. I don't know. But yeah, this is the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Happy holidays. Hope you guys enjoy this. I wrote a little bit about Jonas here on the side, so you can read the little tagline and then flip to page 9 to read more about him. But with that said, happy holidays. Jen and I will see you in another video. Have an amazing day. Peace. Bye.